So, you hear about the president was interviewed by the ABC News reporter, and it did not go well for the reporter, for the fake news media. State of Daniel is going to break it down for us. I'm going to link the, well, I'm going to put the link in the description so you can watch the whole thing, how Daniel breaks it down. So I'm going to be pausing this sometimes.
First 100 days of his second term in office, President Trump not only held a rally in Michigan, but he also granted an interview to ABC News. And personally, I think it was one of the most savage interviews President Trump has given yet.
Yes, it was.
We should have known that things were going to get dicey when the reporter, Terry Morin, basically accused President Trump of photoshopping the MS-13 tattoo on Abrego Garcia's hands. You can't make this up.
You can't.
Murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it. By law. And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute.
Well, wait a minute. What
do you mean there's a dispute of that? He said there was a dispute of that? Who's disputing that he's not the member of the MS-13 gang? Even they won't even ask him if he was the member of the MS-13 gang because they know the answer. Oh my goodness, they're trying to hide that thing. Even the girlfriend was trying to hide that, photoshopping or putting emoji hearts on the tattoos and everything like that. Oh, wow.
MS-13 on his knuckles tattoo.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped.
That was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry. Hey, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something.
We agree to disagree? Oh, wow. Who's this Terry guy again?
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine.
Of course. Of course you're not the expert of it. That's the bottom line. You're not the expert of it. Why would people say that? Why would people say I'm not an expert or I'm not a politician or I'm not the, sometimes I would say something, I'm not a scientist, but of course he's not the expert because you're an idiot.
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS.
He is not going to let that go.
Not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay.
We'll take a look.
We'll take a look.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you just say yes, he does, and go on to something else?
First of all, how are you going to flat out say that you're not an expert in tattoos
It's clearly
and then go ahead and spend the next minute debating as if you are an expert?
Exactly.
Second of all, if you're going to attempt to fact check the sitting president of the United States, you should at least have your facts straight. So
Exactly.
ABC News' Terry Morin said that Abrego Garcia didn't have tattoos in El Salvador, right? That's what he said at the very end. Well, unfortunately for him, this high-res photo of Abrego Garcia meeting with Senator Van Hollen shows the exact opposite. There are tattoos clear as mud. Now, not only...
Dude, I don't know why we have to keep showing this thing. He even has pictures, photos of him. This is before he got arrested. To having that tattoo. And the wives have to cover it up because, they want to play this on thing that he's not a member of the MS-13. It's stupid. I don't know why they get playing this stupid thing that they don't know. Right? Like this is the reporter guy. Trump is giving you an opportunity to basically, to to gain more trust, from the people. But they just sinking, and he's like digging in his own hole. And I commend, President Trump for sticking with it. He's not going to let that go. He's just going to, he wants to move into Ukraine. Yeah, like Trump's going to let that go. You just said that it was Photoshop. Stupid.
Are they all over his arm? But if we zoom in on this photo, oh, wait a look, what's that? Tattoos on his knuckles. But that's not all. Terry Moran also accused President Trump of using Photoshop. I mean, I guess he's sort of right, but only if you count the oh-so-obvious labels as Photoshop.
That's a label, MS-13.
S for the smile, 1 for the cross, and 3 for the skull. We'll get to that in a second. Now, to be very fair, it wasn't just ABC News claiming it was Photoshop. This
everyone,
was apparently all over
the liberal media. Yeah.
Just one other example, The Wrap, which is a Hollywood trade. Trump posts Photoshopped image of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's knuckle tattoos with disputed MS-13 interpretation from people who thought it was an incredibly clumsy Photoshop attempt, and from others who saw the obvious labels as a questionable interpretation of the symbols on his left hand. Now, even if you don't agree with the interpretation, there are a lot of questions to be raised here, including why did Abrego Garcia's wife censor her husband's hands in her own TikTok story? Just really convenient, right?
You just have to, why not ask him? Why not ask the El Salvadorian? Why not ask those people in El Salvador? President Bukele. I'm pretty sure they are agreeing that those are tattoos means an MS-13.
Coincidental. The hearts just so happened to cover up the tattoos in question. If
exactly.
those weren't MS-13 tattoos, then why is she censoring that on her own social media accounts?
That's my point.
Skull goes, the skull apparently sometimes can count as a 3 because the skull has 3 cavities. 2 eyes plus 1 nose equals 3. According to Grok, if you ask it, yep, that's right. In some gang tattoo contexts, like with MS-13, a skull can symbolize the number 3 because of its...
Is that right? Same? In some gang tattoo context like MS-13, a skull can symbolize, just like, like our smart click back in the day in the 90s. 13 means, that's skull. 3 means a skull. Usually, I thought it was like 13 is like usually like a bad number, like death. Anyway.
3 holes, 2 eye sockets, and 1 nasal cavity. This fits with the broader symbolism in the thread, where tattoos often encode numbers or letters tied to gang activity. Now, because the tattoos don't literally spell MS-13, you can debate the interpretation of each symbol, but that's not what Terry Moran did. He was just flat out wrong with the facts. From claiming that the tattoo wasn't there in El Salvador to accusing President Trump of using Photoshop, no wonder the media has lost all credibility. Well, they actually obviously lost it well before.
Just like what President Trump was saying, that they're giving him. President Trump picked him. Maybe they can redeem themselves. That's President Trump's giving him a chance, but no, he thinks that he thinks that he's doing his peers a favor.
President Trump returned to office. The greatest example of the mainstream media losing credibility is their cover-up of Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline, and President Trump calling them out on it, I think, was one of his most savage moments ever.
Yeah.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had
shaking hands with a ghost. He's walking around like he's just done pooped his pants all the time.
A president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
Oh,
thank you. And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. Enjoy it while it lasts, folks, because it's not going to last forever. Look, I know there are some people who don't always like President Trump's tone, the mean tweets, or how abrasive he is with the mainstream media, but honestly, I think they kind of deserve it, because The cover-up of Joe Biden's oh-so-obvious cognitive decline was not just an in-kind contribution to the Democrats and Joe Biden, and by extension, Kamala Harris's campaign, but it also endangered the country. I mean, Joe Biden would have been pressured to step down or the 25th Amendment invoked, but instead, nope, the media pretended as if there was nothing wrong, yet every time President Trump looks the wrong direction, it's a major outcry. So one of the mainstream media's tactics in President Trump's second term is division, literally trying to divide President Trump from his closest allies. The best example of that is Elon Musk, right? The mainstream media has done everything they can trying to divide Trump and Musk, whether it's headlines about Musk loving the limelight or Musk stealing attention from President Trump. I mean, they obviously were trying to get under President Trump's skin, right? But they clearly misunderstand the man. To an extent, they tried that with J.D. Vance, and right now, the number one target is Pete Hegseth. So Terry Moran asked about Pete Hegseth, and he was not prepared for what Trump had to say.
A very good defense, hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in Pete Hegseth?
I don't have 100% confidence in anything. Okay, anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
it's a pretty important position.
I have no. You don't have 100%.
Look at this guy.
Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't
True.
have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
So, number one, he's being honest. He's saying, hey, I do have my doubts about Pete Hegseth, but to be fair, Trump did say earlier today, not in this interview, but in a separate interview, that apparently he spoke with Hegseth and he believes that Pete is going to get it together and turn.
Well, he's not even saying that it doesn't have that he doesn't trust Hegseth. He was just saying that you can't put 100% trust in anything or anybody. You know? I mean, sometimes I don't even have 100% trust in myself sometimes.
Turn the ship around. I don't think that the performance from Pete is as bad as the media is making it sound like, but obviously things can always be better. But Trump was honest about that. Like he said, nothing is at 100%. But just because it's not at 100%, it doesn't mean that you don't like that person or you think that they should be removed from their position. And then obviously just the artistry in turning that into an insult against ABC News, just trolling them to their faces, brilliant. Next, they discuss President Trump's greatest accomplishment, which obviously is the southern border.
As you said, it is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline.
Yeah, single digit probably.
About your methods. And so I want to ask
about my message?
Methods. About your methods. How you're accomplishing
They seem to work.
Well, they seem to work. And by the way, he's not breaking the law. He's doing everything by the books, using the existing laws, the existing border policy that should have been implemented decades ago. There's nothing wrong with that, yet they want to spin this as if it's some controversy or some infringement on human rights. Get real here. Now, before we switch gears and turn to President Trump's 100-day rally in Michigan, they did talk about foreign affairs. And obviously, the largest story there has to do with Russia and Ukraine. And Terry Moran flat out asked President Trump, hey, do you trust Vladimir Putin? And again, it is the art of the answer and the troll.
The fighting. Don't forget.
You think he wants peace? You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think he does. I think because
even with the raining missiles
I think he really, his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
Do you trust him? Do you trust him?
Oh my goodness!
I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview, and then you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me that a guy whose hand is covered with a tattoo doesn't have the tattoo. You know.
All right.
I mean, you're being dishonest.
No, I'm not.
Let me
no,
just
I'm
tell
not.
you,
Listen to this guy.
A lot of people, but I do think this. I think that let's say he respects me. And I believe because of me, he's not going to take over the whole. But his decision, his choice would be to take over all of Ukraine. It's a war that never should have happened.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I said, if you want to watch Danny's analysis completely without interruption, you can click the link. That's what I think. I agree with Trump, you know. But the sad part or the sad truth about that is Trump is not going to be precedent for more than 4 years. After that, it'll be, who knows? I mean, I hope that J.D. Vance or whoever want to take over after Trump, keep the MAGA movement alive. But after Trump, there'll be just like how, China probably just, they just probably saying we're just going to wait it out, wait it out until Trump leaves office or until Democrats is in power again. You know what I mean? I mean, they have eternity. We don't. But, Trump's just smart that, he's going to put things in place to prevent that from happening. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to keep this short. If you guys want to continue watching Daniel's video, I put a link on the description, but I just want to see the, some of those things that going back and forth about the, the fact checking with that reporter with the MS-13, knuckle tattoo. But anyway, keep it here. Like the ones, share it if you want. If not, whatever. Subscribe and keep it here.